a second here. We already got John. Okay. Allison, oh gosh. Aruerdia, A-U-W-E-R-D-A, representing herself, testifying against the bill. Allison here. All right, we'll show her not here testifying against the bill. Not testifying against the bill. Chair now calls Anne Marie Beard, representing herself, testifying against the bill. Is Anne Marie here? We will show that she did not testify, but is against the bill. Okay. Next, the chair will call Michelle Benavides, representing herself, testifying against the bill. Are you Michelle?
Yes.
All right, we got a winner. How are you this evening?
Very nervous.
Great, thank you.
My name is, hello, good evening. My name is Michelle Benavides. I'm a constituent in Representative Donna Howard's district. They told us not to talk if we had already heard everything we were going to say. I had something to say. The lovely representative lady who explained the bill didn't put any provisions in there about mental health.
Michelle, can you do me a favor and tell me your position on the bill?
I am
please?
against the bill. My apologies, sir.
Thank you, Michelle.
In 2012, I found myself pregnant. I have a college degree from TCU. I was 32 years old, and I have bipolar disorder. I can only work part-time because of my illness. My boyfriend had been looking for work for 6 months and had a 14-year-old daughter that he was sole custodian of. He has sole custody of her and has raised her alone. I chose to have an abortion because I didn't have a lot of options. I met with my psychiatrist and my therapist. I was 8 weeks pregnant, and I would not be able to continue most of my medication, which would cause me to either become so depressed I committed suicide, or I became manic and have hallucinations and have tried to hurt myself in manic states. If I did manage to survive the pregnancy, I have a 77% more chance of suffering from postpartum psychosis, not depression, psychosis. If I had lived through that, I would have then had a child who, like my dad and my aunts and uncles, lived with a mother with bipolar disorder. My grandmother would take to her bed for weeks at a time and would have to be sedated by my aunt, who was a public health nurse. When she would get so manic, she'd start cutting up the kids' clothes. My grandma was a good woman, but was sick, and I could not do that to a child. If I didn't make it through the postpartum psychosis, I would leave my boyfriend with a baby, a 15-year-old daughter, and a devastated family. I don't regret my decision, and I feel no guilt. I made the best choice I had. I have a mental illness, an illness that already comes with a stigma. I have had coworkers not speak to me once they found out, and I have lost my job at various places because of it. I work hard for what I do, but I have limitations. And the fact that this bill makes no provisions for mental health is wrong. I understand that the physical health of a woman is important, but saying that a pregnant woman's emotions are all over the place, therefore their mental health shouldn't count, is wrong. Mental illness is real, and it kills people. It kills pregnant women who commit suicide. It takes mothers from their children in postpartum depression and psychosis, and in horrific, horrible cases, takes the children from the parents when the mother goes crazy and drowns her 5 children, or kills her children because she doesn't know what else to do. This bill is not taking into account the mental health of women. People with mental illness suffer from enough stigma without having to go through a pregnancy that's going to devastate them and their mental health. I work hard for my health. I take my medicine daily. I see my therapist monthly, and I see my psychiatrist every 3 months. I exercise. I eat well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michelle. Yes, go ahead. Representative Farrar. Ladies first.
Am I good?
No, we've got some questions, if you don't mind. First of all, thank you for sharing something that's just so personal. Times 2. And I guess You know, I've worked with, on legislation dealing with postpartum depression and psychosis, and so thank you for bringing that up. Could you, so I guess something that we haven't spoken about is the psychotropic drugs that people take. Could you speak to that a bit? And I didn't hear, what is your condition, if you don't
I
mind?
have bipolar disorder 1 and general anxiety, but the bipolar 1 is what I take medication for. I take, the two main drugs I take are Lamictal and Triliptal. They're both anti-seizure medications. Research has shown that they will, by 10 weeks in, start to underdevelop the baby's brain. The babies are born addicted to the drugs. Some mothers have to go off of them starting at 8 weeks. It also can be passed along in the breast milk, like most drugs can, and so women who take these drugs have to go off of them for their pregnancy. And that's very scary.
Yeah, I don't think we've contemplated that, this body.
Usually don't.
Right. Okay. And that's why we shouldn't be practicing medicine, quite frankly. So anyway, my colleague.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have people on both sides of this issue, and I'm asking respectfully if we can honor what the chairman laid out, which is that shows of one side or the other. I would certainly appreciate you doing that as we continue this hearing. We have 238 other people that want to come and give their testimony tonight on this bill alone. So thank you. Representative Menendez, do you have a question?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to, I heard something. I was in the back room, and I heard you say something at the beginning that concerned me, and I think the gist of what I heard you say was that you heard earlier that you shouldn't testify if something had already been said.
Yes.
But hold on. Here's what my comment is for you and for everyone else in this room or the overflow room or wherever they meet. You have a right to have your voice heard. And many of you have spent time and energy and your money to be here, and this is a public meeting, and no one has the right to stop you. So thank you for being here, and I want everyone who feels like they need to have their voice heard to have the same confidence and articulation that you had tonight. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for your time. Have a good night.
You bet. Chair, and I'll call Anne Marie Beard, representing herself, testifying against the bill. Good evening.
Good evening, and again, my name is Anne Marie Beard, and I am a constituent of Gonzales, and I am speaking in opposition to HB 60. I'm a fifth-generation Austinite, many-generation Texan. I'm a Christian, and for me personally, I would never have an abortion. And also for me personally, I have never been in the position to have to make that decision. I'm 34 years old, and I am happy to say that I'm 6 years sober from alcoholism. Excuse me. When I was a young woman attending UT, I don't know how many men I slept with. And I say that without shame, because I was raised in a society here in Austin that celebrates partying and living the good life. And no matter what happens, it's always the woman's fault. I can't tell you the number of times that I have been called a prostitute because I showed cleavage, or grabbed by a drunk frat boy who, when told I didn't want his attentions, called me a fat bitch. The atmosphere of hatred towards women, both subtle and not so subtle, is very strong in this state. If during the ages of 19 and 27 years old, when I was actively drinking, I had become pregnant, I would not have known who the father was. I was not mentally well. I was not financially stable. There is no way that I could have had a child. And again, I personally don't support abortion. But there are millions of women who find themselves, as you have heard, in drastic, desperate situations. And as we all know, A woman determined will not be deterred. She is like a dog with a bone, and if her only choice is to have an abortion, she will do so, even if it is with a coat hanger. My grandmother told me a story about in 1930s Texas, her neighbor being so poor that she asked to borrow a condom because the one that she and her husband were rinsing out and reusing had finally broken. I hate to think that my grandmother's need to educate her neighbor is what we're going back to, that we are reversing the hands of time and telling women that it is still all their fault and that they don't have the choice to make the right decision for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Chair will now call Karen Berker, representing herself, testifying against the bill. Karen here. We'll show Karen not testifying but against the bill. Our laptop's not working as quick as we'd like. Chair now calls Lisa Blackwell, representing herself, testifying against the bill. Lisa here? We'll show Lisa not testifying but against the bill. Chair will now call Laura Blackwell, representing herself, testifying against the bill. Is Laura here? Okay, we'll show Laura not testifying but against the bill. Linda Brooks, the chair will now call Linda Brooks, representing herself, testifying against the bill. Is Linda here? No? Okay, we'll show that she did not testify and she's against the bill. Chair will now call Mary Brown, representing herself, testifying against the bill. Hi.
Hi, I'm here. It's great.
Good.
Hi, my name is Mary Brown. I'm a constituent of Representative Meyer Crownover in District 64 in Denton, Texas. And I'm here to testify against this bill, HB 60. I represent myself and I represent some Texas women. This bill provides a great deal of questions, practicality questions and constitutional questions. The constitutional questions are already asked and answered. This bill is unconstitutional. Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood v. Casey protect a woman's right to abortion up until the 24th week. This week mark is determined by viability, defined as a 50% survival rate outside of the womb. This week mark is when the state's compelling interest in the pregnancy becomes valid. This bill violates the holding of the court in both of these cases and provides a very unclear question on the practical side as well. A provision of the bill states that the fetus be aborted to provide, to quote the bill, the best possibility for the unborn child to survive, which means the normal abortion procedures cannot be performed. A woman must be dilated further than usual to accommodate the complete removal of the roughly 11-ounce fetus that is about 6 inches long. I can't help but wonder what is the plan when a 20-week fetus is pulled out and it doesn't survive for more than a few hours. You've put the woman and the attending physician through a really unnecessary procedure, one that isn't necessarily pro-life at all. The bill on its face is unconstitutional and is an undue burden on Texas women. In conclusion, the bill is treating the symptoms and not the cause. Expand Medicaid, pay our social workers more, increase the minimum wage, and fully fund public education. Institute universal preschool and state-funded child care systems so that working women feel like they can have that child. Let's make comprehensive sex ed with medically sound and accurate information the norm in public schools. Let's treat the cause and not the symptoms. And if I can wrap up with my own, personal set of Bible quotes. The Bible has 7 passages about how much God hates figs It has no passages specifically saying that abortion is not okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair will now call Lisa Blackwell, representing herself, testifying against the bill. Good evening.
Hi, Mr. Chairman, representatives. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Lisa Blackwell, and I'm here to testify against House Bill 60. I'm speaking on my own behalf, and I'm a constituent of Representative Donna Dukes. I'm a public health graduate, and I'm passionate about protecting the right to equal and affordable health care access for all Texans. 140,000 women lost access to health care due to the action of our prior legislature. The Affordable Care Act would provide health care coverage for these women. However, as you know, Texas has chosen not to expand Medicaid to these women. As such, Texas has made it difficult and even impossible for many women to obtain birth control or to make decisions about her reproductive health. Now, as David Dewhurst tweeted yesterday, House Bill 60 and its companion bill, Senate Bill 5, seeks to make it impossible for many women to obtain an abortion. As this tweet pointed out, House Bill 60 and Senate Bill 5 would close 37 of the existing 42 clinics, leaving only 5 open. This bill also doesn't grandfather existing clinics, and the cost of upgrading to an ambulatory surgical center is approximately $300 per square feet. The majority of these regulations do not impact patient care. And as you may be aware, vasectomies do not require an ambulatory surgical center. I believe for this reason that these bills are overreaching and burdensome to the providers. I'd like to share with you a story of a friend of mine. My friend became pregnant while attending a Christian high school that had no sex ed, but there was the expectation that students who engaged in sexual activity would be kicked out of school. As she was a senior, she was thankfully able to access an abortion before anyone realized that she had become pregnant. She graduated high school and then went on to attend UT. She graduated from the University of Texas and then went on to graduate school. She recently told me that she has never regretted having an abortion, and she does not believe that she would have had any chance of graduating college, much less graduate school, if she had a baby at 18. Further, she believes that her child would have been part of the 47% of children in Texas that are on CHIP and Medicaid. I hope and plan that I would never have an abortion. However, if I were, at this point, it would most likely be because something had gone horribly wrong with a planned pregnancy. I would hate to be forced to give birth to a child who is unable to survive. And for that reason, I would like to ask you to vote against House Bill 60. Thank you for your time.